Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. It's time for some fun. Woohoo! So, the one thing that I immediately see, yeah, this is your typical Conqueror, Lilias, and Choux. So, I've talked about this before in the past, where basically you can use Lone Crescent Bellona to go into this comp. All you need to have is you just need to have a cleanse or just some form of immunity that's going to go onto your kit, because the biggest thing that can really stop you is Senya. So if you have some answer to Senya, which in this case is Mediator Kawerik, okay, cool. So I've got my sustain already set up with Roana, I've got my immunity and my attack buff set up with Mediator Kawerik. Now it's just a matter of... So we managed to get a strip right here with Choux, so everything's looking good. Now we can just go into the Choux and we'll do as much damage as humanly possible. Now, we're still using injury set right now, but in all honesty, I think I'm probably going to retire this, because right there, that didn't do enough to kill her. And that was also like with a little bit of an injury hit on it too. So it's like, I'm not seeing a lot of value for injury Lone Crescent Bellona anymore, especially because later on down the line you're going to see some injury Illynav, and quite honestly, it's pretty good shit. So, but we'll get there whenever we get there. So what I think I'm actually going to end up doing is, instead of being on injury, because like right here you're already seeing it, it's like I'm basically just killing them like 2 or 3 turns in, so like injury's not really building up, it's doing next to nothing. So instead I'm thinking I'm either going to go lifesteal or I'm going to go like just destruction set. I'm kind of leaning towards destruction set, because with the destruction set I can just have all of my excess stats be either like ER, HP, defense, and then I can try my absolute best to hit 350 crit damage, and then we should be good, and hopefully I'll have a lot more attack than what I've already got. But hey, either way, that match is over. That's basically all it was. Now, on to the real feature presentation. So, we're fighting Sage Baal, Apocalypse Ravi, and Unbound Knight Arowell, and we're basically just fighting pure, raw, like, I has HP, I'm annoying. Okay, well, this whole team is extremely susceptible to injury. Now, there is one thing, only one, in particular, that really makes this first turn not work so well, and that's mainly just because Unbound Knight Arowell is there and Sage Baal is there. Now, it's not the fact of the characters themselves, it's their color. And because of that, they had a little barrier on them. So, if you're understanding what I'm saying is, basically, if you're going into anything with a barrier and you want to get that quick injury, you're not going to get that quick injury. Now then, after you have dealt with the barriers in question, then you will just start seeing Illynav go absolutely to town. So what I'm currently using right here is, this is Illynav on injury set. I had her originally on a counter set, but I wasn't feeling it too well. So instead I decided to go for a speedy injury set so that I could get my turns in. And, I mean, it's not too fast. I mean, hey, Perfect World is like, what, 220 or something? But I would have to lower the crit damage, which, in all honesty, I'm really not sure if this is the perfect build for her yet. I don't know. I'm going to let everybody else kind of figure that out. Because whenever it comes to counter set, whenever you're running a counter set, there's just so much RNG associated with it. It's a matter of you're either not going to counter, or like if you have Elbrus on, it's just not going to proc, just all that kind of stuff. So I feel like you're probably better off utilizing some form of either speed set or an injury set just to stack on the injury really quickly. And also, if you're rocking an injury set, if you get an S1 and you do not get punish from the from your S1 usage, hey, you still get some injury out of it, which is great. And like right here, this is where things start to really compound. So as soon as you really get moving with Illynav, you just start absolutely decimating units. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Because like, so the worst thing about Illynav is really getting started. And I ultimately learned this in the very last match that I bring her into, which is not a recommended match, by the way. Like, I go into, like, fighting Lua. Shit you really shouldn't do. But, like, I mean, we'll get to that whenever we get to it. But, like, even still, like, we're not getting a lot of S2 procs, so, like, the luck is kind of average, to be honest with you. But, like, I just feel like if you wanted to use Illynav, there's 3 different builds that you can really do, and all 3 of them are pretty damn good. There's Speed, if you just want to turn cycle. There's Injury, if you want to build up Injury really, really quickly, to which you might also want to go ahead and use some, like, Speed on your Injury set. And then the other is Counter, which is just pure RNG. And hey, the whole fight just kind of went through really quick, but the thing that was delaying it was just, like, units having barriers. So if you don't have to deal with barriers, which you're going to see right up through here, you just go in and you make things miserable. So we get our first turn with Destina, then we just have her go. So there's no barriers of any kind. Take this opportunity at all times with Illynav, let the S3 rip. And if you just let it rip, you just get a bunch of injury right off the bat. And with your own injury set, it makes it even stronger. So that whole team is already looking very detrimental. And they still have to go into their AoE attacks. So as soon as they get their AoEs in, I still run a chance of doing a counterattack because of Elbrus. And that's basically what I'm doing right now. I don't get a whole bunch, but hey, what's the big threat? Okay, it's Belian. Go for Belian, and bam! She's already almost dead, and she's already at max injury. This is This is Illynav's second turn. She has only taken 2 turns, and the biggest detrimental effect, which was Belian, is dead, and Senya is about to die right here, just because of all that injury. Oh, I'm gonna put a barrier up. I don't care. You're still dead. That's how powerful she feels now. It is incredible. So, I, honest to God, don't know if injury is the way, or if speed is the way, but I feel like counter is probably not as good, because if you want to run counter, you have to run a bunch of bulk and defensive options, because they did take away a little bit of her defense ability, because, like, they took away the death buff that she gains, I think, on her skill punish. I think that's what they took away from her. Either way, you don't have, like, a lot of support. So if you come in with Illynav with support of some kind, you will just absolutely decimate people. It's incredible. Like, right here, I think this does the remaining injury. Okay, it doesn't do the remaining injury, but she's so injured, this is going to kill her. Look at that! Absolutely incredible. Now, then I also attempt to try another little thing here, because of everybody saying, oh hey, Lilias is also countering Conqueror Lilias. I didn't think this through in the slightest, but, like, hey, you'll watch what happens here. So, we're basically sacking Lilias, but I'm also kind of just damage checking, because I have a fair amount of DPS that's on my Lilias right now. She has crit damage buff, but we don't have things like attack buff on things like Arunka yet. So if you saw that damage, it was actually kind of... I wasn't impressed. I really wasn't impressed by that at all. Yeah, sure, I was going through Vigor buff, but, like, at the same time, that was just very, very unimpressive to me. So, ultimately, I think if I was going to use Lilias in the future, if you're going to go for, like, the cleave setup, you need to have buffs for your units that will just, like, make your other units that she's borrowing the attack stats from even stronger. So you have to have some kind of an attack buff, where I think she would function better in an RTA format or with 4 players instead of, like, 3. So I don't think it's really great for things like GuildWar. It's probably still good, you know, going up against Lua. And by the by, you're watching some just straight up high-level cancer right now. So, yeah, Choux hit, like, almost all of her hits onto Arunka, and that's all she wrote. Arunka is such a good character. Now, this is the thing that I was also talking about before. When it comes to Illynav, if you have the opportunity and you see just the chance to use S3, always do it. So Lua actually 15%ed right here, and she did not reset my Illynav. So she actually has her S3 right now. Now, I went for the S2 on Ravi because I was afraid that she was going to, like, hit into my Illynav and was going to do absurd damage. Whereas I really had no reason to be afraid. there was no reason for me to be afraid. That was just my own, like, subconscious, like, kind of being scared of kind of stuff. So if I had gone in with the S3, not only would I have had immunity, I would have also had crit damage buff, and I probably would have just had more opportunities to just straight up start nuking and annihilating units. Also, this wouldn't happen. So I have Death Break right now. Cool, you're dead. Yes. So I have one more opportunity to try and, like, salvage this. So I'm at the hands of RNG's mercy right now. And ultimately, you're probably going to figure out what's going to happen. So I'm going to bring back Illynav. Unfortunately, it was Illynav's next turn, so I couldn't get the opportunity to S3 with Roana yet. Sucks. But I go for the S3 and Magic for Friends procs. And because of that right there, I have absolutely no way of recovering from this. So let's just go ahead and we'll skip ahead like several turns. And yeah, like right here, I couldn't get to my turns quick enough so that I could really deal with the Mercedes. Like, yeah, the biggest problem was I just didn't S3 at the start. If I did that with Illynav, I think I would have been 100% good. Now, onto like other normal means of fighting. So we're going up against ae-KARINA, Conqueror, Lilias, and Senya here. So the biggest thing that I really wanted to bring is I wanted to bring Inferno Khawazu strictly just to fight Senya. Now, we didn't have an opportunity to use equivalent exchange yet. It's actually going to occur right here. But the good news is that it's occurring right here. It's not really going to be super detrimental, because she got her S3 off, that hit Inferno Khawazu, so now he can go, and then I can just straight up strip all of that bullshit right off of Senya. Because that was the whole point of this. Because whenever you have Vigor, that's an undispellable strip. You can't do anything about it. Unfortunately, it didn't kill, but hey, whatevs. And ultimately, yeah, now we've dealt with Senya. Senya's gone. And interestingly enough, I guess the damage that Inferno Khawazu gives on his like skill effects did not proc Karina's S2. I guess because it occurs at the end of a turn, so it doesn't proc for her. So then whenever I killed the Senya, and that little tiny bit of HP that she had left, then it procced her S2. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. That's good to know, I guess, for the future. But either way, yeah, all we have left is we just have KARINA and we just have Conqueror Lilias here. So as soon as we really just get the opportunity, like, yeah, Conqueror Lilias is dead. Now the only thing that's going to go into Ed is ae-KARINA. Now this does get a little bit dicey, mainly because I just brought a pretty bad healer into this. Like, Doris had no reason to even be here, and she doesn't have an opportunity to really activate Prophetic Candle all that much, so we don't have really fast we just don't have like good cooldowns on our S2s and S3s. So the heals are coming like kind of low. In fact, Ed almost dies right here, but thankfully we end up getting a Death Break, and we cleanse that off, do equivalent exchange. It's our turn next, and time to go ahead and hit her, and that's all she wrote, boys. And that, as they say, is that. So, I don't know, the balance patches. I ain't gonna lie, this shit was fun. Illynav, great changes to her, just because all they really did was they just made it so that whenever she provides injury, she will pretty much just keep going with damage. And I'm still not sure if injury itself is the best build for her. I'm almost leaning towards like speed set might actually be the best build for her, because just any and all turn cycling that you can really get with her, a lot better off you're going to be. Because like when you look at those stats, that's kind of squishy. Yeah, it's like it's somewhat decent HP, but like, I don't know, if I had maybe 200 more defense, I think I'd be a lot more happy with it. It's just, I don't know, it just feels really squishy. I didn't run with any like damage mitigators. I mainly just ran with support. So yeah, it could work out. And also, like, here's my Lilias coming up. She's really rocking some super mid gear. Like, almost none of it's like 90'd, and it's like not even max critted. But like, it had enough crit damage and Mort's artifact to really kind of give you the impression that it should do somewhat decent damage, but I think I'm just going to go bulk in the future. But hey, I hope you guys liked this video. If you liked it, go ahead and please leave a like, and if you want to see more of my content, go on ahead and hit subscribe. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Later.